Hello everyone and welcome to Leo's bookshelf reorganization extravaganza. Behind me you can see the first ever large bookshelves that I've ever owned. I'm so excited. And they are empty, which means they are ready to be filled and organized, my favorite thing to do. And in this video we're gonna figure out what the best way to organize my bookshelves is. I want to try out organizing by author, organizing by color, organizing by genre. Do I separate my unread books from the books that I have finished? Oh, I'm so overwhelmed. How am I gonna decorate it? We're gonna find out together. I'll share all of my tips with you. So yeah, honestly, let's just get into it. On the very top shelf, I have my book of the month books. That's a decision I've already made. I know I want them up there because it just looks really nice to have all the book of the month editions next to each other. But for the rest of the organization, I don't yet know what I want to do. So let's just begin with the first organization. I'm going to organize by color in two different ways. Yes, there are actually two ways that you can organize by color. I took out all the books from my shelves and I already put them in piles on the ground, organizing them by color. I realized that most of my books are, as you would expect, black or white, but also like blue is super common. And then there were other colors like orange that I don't own a lot of. So I'm not even sure if I'm gonna be able to make a cohesive rainbow, but let's just give it a try and start organizing. I guess I'll start with like the organization that you would expect. I don't have any book stands. Oh, come on. Okay. Some of these are actually really difficult. Like, where do I put this? Is it orange? Do I put it in blue? I think I'm just gonna put it with orange because I have so few orange books. Ooh, I can just open the covers. Oh, that's beautiful. I have a neat trick. If you open out book covers that are that exact color of the spine as well, you can create more color on one shelf. And now for the many blue books. I have another tip. If you have too many black spined books and not enough colored books like I do, a lot of books with black spines do have at least colored lettering on them. For example, Piranesi has kind of orange lettering, Killing November has red lettering. So I just put this one with the red books and I put this one with the orange books just to create a little bit more color among the sea of black and white books that I haven't even put in yet. Alright. Well, you know my opinion is on color coordinated bookshelves. it is visually pleasing. It looks nice. It just doesn't look like a bookshelf to me, if that makes sense. I want my bookshelves to make me feel like I'm in a library or a bookshop, and if it's organized like that, it just doesn't feel like that. So it looks nice, but I'm definitely not going to be keeping this way. I am, however, going to try the other color coordination thing that you can do, because right now I started like here and did the rainbow across the shelves, going like this, like this, like this. But you can also do the rainbow all the way from here to here. So I just want to try out if that's possible with the amount of books I have and what that would look like. Yeah. Okay, there's been a lot of, physical book organizing, but what I also love is organizing and categorizing things digitally. So let me show you how I do that with my books. I've been organizing my books and my whole life digitally for years now with the sponsor of today's video, Notion. You can organize pretty much everything in Notion, and so I also made a page to organize my books like this. For example, I added here some new releases that are coming out in 2025 that I want to keep my eye on. Actually, I already bought the new Emily Wilde book. And every single book that I read in 2025 will end up in this list. The great thing about Notion is that you can keep all of your projects, personal work, anything in one place. For example, I have here my recipe list. I keep track of my writing. If you want to get more done in 2025, you can use Notion basically as a second brain. Also for professional stuff, for example, I have organized all of my video ideas in here. I have an extensive work planner full of to-do lists. But the best thing is that you can customize it all to your liking. I'll use my book page as an example. I'm currently reading the second Emily Wilde book. So if I finish that, I can just add it to it. Add half-star ratings if I so please. It's fully customizable. And when it comes to tracking my goals and getting productive, it really helps if it just looks pretty, which is why I added all these cute little pictures. We can just add another one right now. I just found this one on Pinterest. Bam, aesthetics. Doesn't this make you want to get things done? It really does for me. And if you're not sure where to start, there are thousands of templates that you can use. And you can now also create a custom portrait in Notion Faces. So you can capture your personality by mixing these hand-drawn illustrations. You can use it as your profile picture so you can stand out in Notion wherever you connect. Honestly, I've been using Notion for years. Every single time I recommend it to a friend, they are like, oh my gosh, you have changed my life with this. So I would highly recommend Notion. You can get started for free, make your own little portrait with the link in my description. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like this. I think this looks way better than the other color organization. It really turns it all into one big rainbow. It's very easy on the eye. Even harder to find any book back in here, but honestly, I'm not organizing so I can find my books back, because usually I just know where my books are. Like, I just know my own bookshelves. The thing, however, as you can probably tell by all these empty shelves here, I think this only works if you have a lot of books. I think it's really hard with this organization to play around with creating open spaces on your shelf or putting little knickknacks in between there, because you really have to make sure that the rainbow continues nicely, and like, you know, every shelf has like the correct color right on top of each other. And I just don't have enough books to fill the entire thing. I want to choose some kind of organization where there's a little bit more possibility to kind of play around with a little stack here and there, a little knick-knack here and there, you know? The next organization that we're gonna try today, I'm really not looking forward to this. It's gonna be a lot of work, but I just wanna know what it looks like if I organize my shelf by author. You know, here's the thing, I may be a little bit skeptical about the color coordination, but I've had color coordinated shelves quite often in my lifetime. I think especially if you only have like one little shelf of books, making it a rainbow just looks really fun. Author, I've never had in my entire life. I've never had my books organized by author, even though it is the most standard way of organizing your books. And I know I just said I want my own bookshelves to feel like I'm browsing a personal library, and libraries and bookshops, they always organize by author. So, oh, I'm not looking forward to this. I'm gonna have to sing the alphabet song so often in my mind. I'm already overwhelmed. Ooh. I just realized that if you're organizing by author, you are at extreme risk of organizing and then having to do everything all over again, because I started on like the ABC and then I realized I don't know how many books I'm gonna end up having to put in between there. Like, imagine if I end up with my last book and it ends up being an author starting with a C and I have to put it all the way at the beginning and like shift everything. Oh, this is a planning nightmare. Oh, and now I also can't find any of my books because I organized them by color. I was like, oh, let me just grab all my Lee Bardugo books. I don't know where they are. Where is that book that I'm looking for? Oh man. Oh, I'm so overwhelmed. Cup of tea to calm myself. I think I need to accept that I need to start by making piles on the ground and only then transfer them over to the bookshelf. Okay, I don't know why I seem to struggle with that so much, but I have created piles with the letters of their surnames. For some reason, I have many authors whose surname starts with an M, and also H is very common. I didn't want to separate editions a little bit too much. I have many like little Penguin editions, hardcover editions, so I'm keeping those together in a stack as well. Let's see what we can make of this. Okay, this one was by far the hardest one to organize. There are certain things that I almost always do when I'm organizing a bookshelf, trying to make it look pretty, especially if I don't have any book stands, and that is stacking horizontally a few books of the same height. Works really well as a natural book stand, but that's really hard to do when you're organizing by author, because you just have to be lucky that like a few books in a row are the same height. And just in generally, there's so many parts of this bookshelf that look so jagged because the books are all different heights. I don't think this looks particularly nice. I mean, I really made it look nice by adding a bunch of knickknacks, but organizing by author really feels like I put in a lot of effort and the result is super mediocre. So I would give organizing by author like a C. I'm gonna leave it for the night because I'm gonna continue organizing tomorrow. Maybe I will have changed my mind on the way this looks. I doubt it. Hello, I have lived with this author organized bookshelf for a few days now, and although I love living with my bookshelf, I'm just still not a fan of it. And today we're gonna do the thing that I've been wanting to do for a very long time, and that is finally organize by genre. Hell yeah. And the thing is genre, you know, like what does that mean? It doesn't just have to mean that you make a fantasy pile and a romance pile and a literary fiction pile. You can kind of create your own genres and your own categories. For example, I have a lot of fantasy books that are kind of dark fairy tale retellings, so I want to put those together. I have a bunch of books that I read because TikTok recommended them to me and they were really bad, and I have YouTube videos of those books, so in that sense they're kind of similar genre to me, and I want to put those together as well. Maybe I'll make a little favorite shelves, who knows? There's just many ways that you can create your own little categories and put them together on your shelf that I find a lot more interesting and fun than doing it based on author or the official genre category. So yeah, we're gonna start with taking everything out again and then making piles on the ground of the different genres. Wow, that is all non-fiction, young adult fantasy, classics, so much adult fantasy, some other stuff like thrillers, literary fiction, horror, stuff that I didn't know where to put it, and then some romance. And I put all of my Libardugo books together because they easily fill a shelf. I think my strategy is I'm going to first fill like these shelves that are at eye level with the books I want to look at the most. And then whatever is left is just going to end up on the other shelves. And then I'll rearrange some more. I am surrounded by piles of books on the ground. Feels like I'm in a little summoning circle for some kind of literature god. What I'm currently debating is how to properly distribute the lights that I have on my bookshelf. My big decoration tip for bookshelves is to have little lights. I mean, I have some fairy lights dangling, but I also have fake candles. I really want to get more of these so I can fill the whole bookshelf with fake candles. I have this absolutely gorgeous little tree trunk with mushrooms. I have Calcifer from House Moving Castle. The great thing about these lights is that they also function as book stands, which I'm severely lacking, so I'm just reusing them as book stands. Same as plants, I'm using my plants as book stands as well. But the thing with these lights is I want to distribute them like evenly through the bookshelf so they don't all end up on like the same height, because that's not visually interesting, you know. I want to get every little light decoration on a different level of the bookshelves, but I'm also using them as book stands, so I'm just gonna rearrange some things so they all end up on a different level. Okay, see, we've got the lights in a nice triangle. Another decoration tip for your bookshelves is to, of course, put on some plants. Make sure you put them at the side that is closest to the window. If I were to put plants over there, I'm sure they would die. And they also make for the cutest little book stands. And I think my final decoration tip, if you haven't picked up on it, is to put your books horizontally as well as vertically. Again, it works as a book stand, and it also makes the whole bookshelf a little bit more visually interesting because something different is going on than just having all your books stacked vertically. Hello, this is future Leonie, who just found in her storage room a box full of random knickknacks that we can also use to decorate the shelves, because this is like the final little tip, is to decorate using knickknacks, stuff, things. Let me see what we have here. Oh wow. A little portrait of a diseased eye. Do I want that on my shelf? Hell yeah, I do. It's kind of weird. I like that. Cute little statue of an angel. Bam, we have another book stand. Oh yeah, oh definitely gonna be using this as well. This is very dark academia, so I'm gonna put it with the dark academia books. Knickknackage successful. Trinkets placed. Now there is one thing that I haven't really done yet, and that is think about what to do with all the books that I haven't read yet. For the longest time, I've always created a to be read shelf. So a shelf full of the books that I haven't read yet. So I just all neatly have them all together. Currently, with the books organized by genre, I just have all of my read and unread books together. But maybe I would like it more if I separated my unread books. I thought it would be fun just for visual interest to see what would happen if I turned around every single book that I haven't yet read. Just to kind of visually show you how many of these books I have read and how many I haven't. Oh god. Oh no, I dropped the crystal. Now I have half of the crystal. Oh, I didn't even see it because it was a white crystal on a white book. Now I have 4 crystals. Oh no. Like somehow I feel like I should be turning around more. It really doesn't feel like a lot when they're scattered across the bookshelves. Most of it is spine facing outward, not trying to brag. Let's see what would happen if I turned it into a shelf. Alright, you know what? I don't like this. I have always been a to be read shelf person because it's just nice to have like a good overview of the books you still haven't read. Sometimes I just like forget which books I still own that I can still read. So it's nice to just have them all together. Just don't like the way that it looks. But I have to be honest, in my old space, I didn't even have all of my books together because they didn't all fit in one shelf. So they were just kind of like scattered around my room as well. I actually kind of like that I have all of my books together here. And then if I'm looking for a book to read, I can just be like, oh, let me browse my own shelves. Maybe I just stepped into the crystal that broke. You know, instead of just being boring and going like, oh, I'm just gonna go to my one shelf with books that I still have to read, I can just be like, oh, let me browse my shelves. Oh, I'm just really in the mood for a classic. Let me see what I have here. It's like I'm shopping in my own bookshelf. It's more fun. I'm thinking about this way too much, clearly. as a little tour, I have up there my romance books, and then also some young adult sci-fi from a long time ago. All of my young adult fantasy books are up there. All of my general fiction, couldn't really fit them anywhere else kind of books. Over there I have a little pile for dark academia books, and I also put all of my short story collections together. I have a whole shelf full of my classic literature books, and then a whole shelf for all of my non-fiction books. I have epic high fantasy, just your typical high fantasy books. It's really nice because they're all the same height, so they make for an easy shelf. Then I have fairy tales, folklore, and fairy tale retellings. So all of my kind of fantastical fantasy books, I put them together. These tend to be my favorite type of fantasy books, so I just really wanted to make a shelf for them. And then I have other fantasy books, and then also the very few sci-fi books that I have put together. Oh, and then in the middle, I have a little stash for really bad books that I read because of TikTok and also made videos about. So I have like memories attached to them, you know. I have a Libardugo shelf. And then I also made a little shelf with non-fiction books about feminism, or just like feminism adjacent non-fiction books. This is a way too small pile. I need more of these. Alright, so of course the clear winner of all the different reorganization styles for me is reorganizing by genre, and then surprisingly keeping my unread books between my read books as well. I'm just so happy with this new bookshelf, and I also already know I'm gonna be rearranging it whenever I'm bored. Let me know how you organize your bookshelves. I'm genuinely curious to know what are your thoughts on the different types of reorganization. Maybe all you guys are like, no, the other one that you showed was way more beautiful. That's possible. Let me know. I'm going to end this video with a thank you to all of my patrons, and a special shout out to all of my elite Patreon members whose names you can see here. And a warm welcome to our newest elite members, Steph Curry, Kelly Brewer, Vivian, and Danielle7101. Welcome. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you soon in another video very soon. Goodbye.